You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Dexter After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Dexter After Show.
All right, welcome to another AFTERBUZZ TV Dexter After Show. Bing is for doing, and we're here doing it every week for your viewing enjoyment. I'm joined today by our amazing co-hosts,
Anna Koppel
and JJ Jurgens.
And as usual, I'm Stephen Lemieux. Sean Overman is not joining us this evening, but he will be back next week at the same Dexter time, same Dexter place, and we look forward to that. But this episode, so we're starting out with episode 9 of season 7, which is Helter Skelter. And the kind of overlying theme of this episode that I kind of put together that they kind of throw at you blatantly is the comparisons between fear and love. And how it kind of affects Dexter and how other characters are akin to it and how their feelings towards it, especially Isaak, especially Deb, even Hannah and Dexter. It kind of pulls them all into how they deal with their fears centered around love. But we're going to break down the episode through the relationships between Dexter and Isaak, Dexter and Hannah, Dexter and Deb. Then we'll get a little bit of the LaGuerta Matthews arc going on. And we'll talk about some Quinn and Jurg, because that's steaming up. I'm wondering what kind of stuff's going to come from that. And then we'll finish off with some of the Phantom Fire Batista, which is setting up for a new arc that's coming in, and give you a little teaser of things that we're going to be doing at AFTERBUZZ later this week. But so Dexter and Isaak, what did y'all think of the whole beginning and ending, or the beginning of the end of Isaak?
I love Isaak, so I really like to see Isaak and Dex teaming up in this episode. I'm really sad that it was the end of him. I mean, I think it's great the way they played it out, but I just really fell in love with that character and really like to see their interaction in this episode especially.
Yeah, I really liked Isaak, and I really thought that he was a great partner with Dexter in this episode. Like you said, he was also a great opponent for Dexter. I'm sort of surprised. This season has been so good, but I'm surprised at how quickly they've been killing people off.
I agree.
You know, I definitely thought Isaak was staying around at least till the end of the season. We had talked about maybe he was going to be the one to kill Dexter, and that's how next season was going to end. So I'm sort of shocked that he was killed in this episode, and a little sad because I loved their dynamic.
Yeah, it's gonna. I'm sad that Ray Stevenson's not going to be on the show anymore because he was such a powerful presence on camera. Every time he was on camera, I mean, maybe he upstaged Dexter too much and they killed him. Because honestly, I was staring at him the whole time he was on camera with Dexter. I was like, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? Because he was unpredictable. He was sane, but he had that level of insanity that like you come to love about a show like this.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to go into it, so you go ahead and say what your thought was.
I think I also like what you just started to say. I don't know that he showed him up, but I know what you're saying, and I think that's what I liked. I think he also took Dexter to a new level. Like, I think we saw things, and I think he was the perfect guy to have him kind of questioning love, and like when he called him out on how he, what he'd said to Hannah and didn't say to Hannah, like, it was just, it was great. Like, it was so, I don't know, it was
believable for his backstory.
Well, I don't know that it's showing Dexter up, but he was another charismatic, handsome killer that we were relating to. Yes. And I guess we can't have two of those on the show.
We can't have two lovable serial killers.
I don't know. I haven't felt the interest into a character so much since the Trinity Killer case.
Right.
Because, like, same thing with John Lithgow. When he's on camera, you're looking at him because you cannot tell what he's thinking. You don't know if he's about to kill someone or if he's about to hug him. I mean, it was a great. I'm sad to see him go, but we certainly have an episode to talk about with how it happens. So, first things first, Dexter goes home and hello, I'm Isaac. I'm at your apartment right now.
Yeah.
It's kind
Would
of
you like some tea?
Yeah, would you like some tea? Well, he was going home for Hannah, and was it? Do you think that it was Isaac texting Dexter during Deb's conversation with him?
I thought that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Dexter receives a text while he's talking to Deb and answers it in
Yeah.
front of Deb. That's kind of a Dexter-Deb thing. But then he goes home to try to find Hannah there, meet me after work at your place, and Isaac's there, and he's basically lays it on the line like, if I wanted you dead, I would have already tried to shoot you right now. I need your help. I have 2 guys after me.
Well, hold on. Isaac showed up before that. He kind of showed up at his front door, and Dexter was on his way to work.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I totally...
Yeah. So, and then they had that conversation, and then when Hannah said, meet me at your place, that may or may not have been Isaac. But I never saw Isaac leave, and maybe I just missed that. But from the morning, I never saw Isaac leave. And so when Hannah sent that text, I was like, well, is Isaac still there? Like, so
Yeah.
I was a little bit confused about that. So I wasn't that surprised that Isaac was there making tea. I was just like, oh, I guess he never left.
I was mixing it up. Like, were you surprised when Dexter opens the door in the beginning and sees Isaac at the front door?
Absolutely.
That's what I was trying. I was mixing up my notes. I'm sorry about that. Anna catches me off guard.
Yeah, that's
Well, I was
the
my
Isaac
mistake.
of your life.
But yeah, so then he does have the first. He asks Dexter for help straight up, and then you're right. He's in his house and basically forces him, saying he kidnapped Hannah and everything. And there was an interesting line here that they reuse later in the episode where they say, let's see, where is it? I hate it when I have so many notes. I'd be dead by now.
Yeah.
And Isaac uses it on Dexter, and he's like, if you really didn't care about Hannah, then I'd be dead by now. And then later in the episode, we have Dexter use it against Isaac. Well, if you didn't believe that you're at fault, then I'd be dead by now. So that's kind of an interesting, like, in this episode especially, they really draw the beginning to the end complete full circle with Dexter. It opens up with Dexter on the boat with Hannah talking about fears and how she is afraid of water because of her relationship with her parents, but then the rough waters on the boat and how she's afraid of everything. And then at the end of the episode, we come into Dexter's driving Isaac out, and it's more peaceful. He's not afraid. It's more of a solemn moment of almost camaraderie. Like, did you feel that at all, too?
Well, I took it as, he was wanting to go out there to be with Victor and be, that's where his dying wish. And so, yeah, I did feel it was camaraderie. I felt like it was like a real moment of him, kind of granting his last wish. And then obviously them both being in similar characters, and I think him trying to help, Isaac trying to help Dexter have some sort of a real life or be able to experience something beyond just the killing and the, the hatred. And so trying to get Dex to open up and realize that he needs to tell Hannah things. He needs, if he ever wants to have, any sort of real,
Connection.
Connection with people in his life.
Yeah, I found that to be a little bit not believable, actually, as a moment, because this is, these are Isaac's final moments, and I don't know that he would be, trying to make Dexter a better person. It was like as he's dying. I don't know, but I didn't fully buy that moment.
Well, what I kind of got from it was throughout their dealings in the episode, Isaac gets really irked when Dexter's on the phone and says, likewise.
Yeah.
And he's visibly upset by that, because if he had one moment to talk to Victor again, the things he would say aside from likewise. And it kind of made me think that how alike they are is more than we think. I think that I think that Isaac was somewhat on par with Dexter in his brutality in how he did things until he met Victor. And I feel like it's a mutual relationship. Victor is to Isaac as Hannah is to Dexter, who kind of bring them down to this base. And Isaac's kind of leading Dexter into what it could be, because he sees him and Victor's relationship in them to a point. And he even says, I totally lost my train of thought, but like it's very sad, because I felt that they at the end it was believable for the one reason that you got to accept that Isaac accepts that it's his fault that Victor died. If Isaac didn't accept that it's his fault Victor died, then the last scene does not seem believable at all, because then it would still have kind of an animosity towards Dexter, and it wouldn't be the same.
Well, Isaac, did see a lot of himself in Dexter, and he said, I don't know if this is where you were going with it, but he said there's hope for you yet. That because he used to be so much like Dexter, just very detached, and then everything changed with Victor. And so maybe things could change for Dexter with Hannah. And so when he does go to see Hannah in the hospital, he opens up to her and says that, you know, there were these 2 times that I've been that afraid. You know, once when I saw my mother murdered, and these past few days when I thought I might never see you again. And I don't know, like, was it just me, or did, like, Hannah... It looked like Hannah just totally, like, kind of got like, all right, buddy, like,
yeah,
now it's getting weird.
It seemed like stage 5 clinger, get away.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get that at all.
Oh, really?
No, no, I kind of thought she was like, oh, finally, you know, like she says, like, that wasn't that hard, was it? You know, I thought she was happy to hear what he had to, like.
Well, that wasn't that hard, was it? And then he keeps going on, and then she's kind of like, and then he says safe, and then she's like, oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. It was the facial expressions. I don't know if it threw some people off. It definitely threw me off because I got the exact same kind of feeling you got, Anna.
Yeah.
But we do have a very interesting little side arc. It felt so much like Burn Notice. I don't know if you guys don't watch it, but it really felt like Burn Notice when Isaak was telling them all about the guys and doing the whole teaming together thing. I mean, Dexter, he's being blackmailed to kill 2 guys that are against Isaak, of course. So the scene where he's just at the gun range, I'm wondering what's going to happen. This whole time I'm watching this scene, yeah, the guy's firing, he's shooting it into this this body paper thing, the target, and Dexter just slowly goes down, and then it just shows the crosshair, and it jerks up a bit, and then he's like, and there's like a knife sticking out of his chest, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That just happened.
Broad daylight.
Like, that just happened. Like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, if there's anything about Dexter being sloppy, I mean, now is the time to scream it to the rooftops. Like, seriously.
Yeah, when I saw that, like, first they showed a wide scene and he was kind of like above. You always thought, well, if he did have a gun, he could just kind of lean over, well, you know, and couldn't shoot him.
Guns
like
aren't his style, though.
Right, exactly. So then in my brain, I'm thinking, no, he wouldn't do that. And it's a daylight. He's still just kind of feeling him out, you know.
I thought he was going to follow him,
like,
yeah.
I thought it'd be M99. I thought the guy would throw off his aim and be like, oh, and fall asleep, M99 kind of style. I mean, it's a shooting range. Where do you think they're going to have cameras?
Right.
Like, really? Like, give everyone guns, and if Dexter can show up and sign a false name and just... That wasn't too smart. That was sloppy. That was whatever.
Super sloppy.
And then he tries to... then they're trying to find the other guy, and he, of course, is going to be on the defensive because he just killed Oleg Mikic. And then... so they devise a plan to make Dexter the bait. They're going to lead the
Caffrey?
Yeah, Benjamin Caffrey to Isaak so Isaak can take him out by using Dexter as a bait. And George kind of falls right into that plan by saying, oh, I know, he was after Morgan. Go after Dexter Morgan.
So predictable.
Yeah, right. So we open up this new small arc with the phantom arsonist who leaves no, like, the only trail he has is that there's a spot that's not burned around a body that's burned. And we started that earlier with what was her name? She was on our show. She did a nice little line, nice little opening sequence. I feel so bad.
Oh. Are you talking, I'm sorry. Are you talking about Dana?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She had a nice little opening sequence with this new arc with the murderer, and then Dexter finds the other murderer in the elevator. Apparently his name's Bobby. We'll go into that later. But then he leaves the crime scene with Benjamin chasing him, and he's like, "Do we have any reason to go to the docks?" So Benjamin knows that Isaac's at the docks pretty much at this point because he thinks Isaac's leading Dexter there to kill Dexter. He gets him to the end, and about 6 shots later, Benjamin Caffrey is no longer a problem on Dexter's plate anymore. And Dexter, I honestly think he thought Isaak was just going to shoot him.
Yeah, I think there was a moment when he thought so too.
I mean, it was just, he was kind of staying like, what the hell's going on? Like, am I going to have to kill this guy myself? So then he takes him out, and then they have a nice little friendly moment of, okay, you toss your gun over, okay, I'll toss mine. Huh, you gonna do it?
Well, they push the body over together, and it was real teamwork.
And I was kind of sad when George shows up and just shoots Isaak. I mean,
I was too, because I'm not a George fan. He's a douche, and you know, so
Yeah.
it's like
George is
I don't
the
want
worst.
to. Yeah, so really to have Isaac, I think, taken out by him
By a
was
douche?
Like, yeah, it was just like, no, come on. I at least wanted somebody better, or even even if it ended up being Dexter somehow in a twist, having to do it or whatever. I just didn't want it to be stupid George.
do you
Stupid George.
think stupid George? I'm gonna love him and call him George. Do you think that Dexter's gonna take revenge on George?
He better.
I hope so.
I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, even he said the friend of my enemy is the enemy of my enemy is my friend, but not in this case per se. I mean, I still think the enemy of his frenemy is now his enemy, so he can go kill George because I don't like George. And
Yeah, and when he talked about having the other grave, digging 2 graves, I don't remember the exact quote, but yeah, it's like, oh, I was hoping, I'm like, oh, good, maybe that grave will be for George.
and if there's any way they're gonna get through this season without Quinn dying, it's gonna be Dexter taking out George,
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
because Quinn is digging himself such a deep hole with these bullcrap.
Dude.
And George slept with Nadia. I mean, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Quinn is in way over his head. This is way too much for Quinn to handle by himself.
But do you guys have anything else about Isaak and Dexter, like, to talk about before we move into some Dexter Hannah loveliness?
I don't think so.
I mean, we can probably put this in either category, but I'm just. Well, let's just put it in the Hannah category. Never mind.
Are you sure?
I miss George.
I miss George. No, you miss Isaac.
Yeah, I miss Isaac. I'm sorry. I
don't
hate
miss-
George. I hate George.
George.
I miss Isaac.
Sorry.
So Dexter and Hannah, the episode opens, of course, with them on the boat, and she's talking about why she fears the water so much, and it's because she didn't have a very good relationship with her parents. Her dad shoved her in a pool and would not let the mom come save her, and the person who had to save her was somebody on a boat nearby who heard her mom screaming. So that's kind of like a very distrust of her dad, and even a distrust of men, which could have led to her propriety in murder, to say, because she murders. Well, she's murdered women, but she murdered her husband for I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Not even going to go
It
into
just
that.
have led to her issues,
Yeah, it led to issues. There we go. And so Dexter will not really say how he feels about her. He's really reluctant to say anything because at the same time he doesn't really want to pull in another Rita. And he talks about Rita in this episode. And you don't really realize how much he really loves Rita. And this episode kind of puts that in concrete, like how much he actually really loved Rita. Because I don't see how he couldn't have, because the way he describes his love for Hannah is completely different, but at the same time, the way he describes his guilt over Rita dying comparatively to Victor dying is, I mean, God, he loved her.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've always kind of known that, I mean, how much he really loved Rita, and I felt like the other women that he's been with or have had in the episodes, just none of them were at the level or of Rita.
Well, I think before Rita died, Dexter was still really believing. He was like very much under Harry's law, and Harry really conditioned him to think he was a monster, and so he really didn't think that he was capable of things like love. And I think it's only been in the last few seasons that he has started to think, well, maybe I am capable of human emotion. And so I think before Rita died, he would never think that he could love, or never allow himself to think those things, that he could just sort of go through the motions. And Rita was at least accepting of him, and he felt comfortable with her. So it might be something that he realizes now. Oh,
Yeah.
I really loved her. So
Like in hindsight, he's just like, wait a second, like that was love.
yeah.
Notice the comparisons between and the
Differentiations.
Yes, differentiations. I'm getting tongue twisted. I'm not used to hosting, guys. Come on. And he look at Isaac and look at Harry. Harry is the one telling him, "You're a monster. You can't love." And then we have Isaac, who is a monster per se, telling Dexter, "Yes, you kill people, but you have to partake in the love. You have to accept the love. Otherwise, you're never going to live." And there was an interesting line that Dexter says earlier in here, and when he's talking about Rita and talking about his love for Hannah and how Hannah is a murderer, yes, of course, but he says, I fear that my human side will push her away. And I thought that was kind of interesting because he's trying to be more human by loving her, but at the same time, does he view her only as a murderer then? If he fears his human side's going to push her away?
Well, he says that he feels safe with her.
Yeah. I don't know.
I know. I guess I took it more as it's just like your fears of when you're, of opening yourself up and like, we all have things that we don't like about ourselves and things we try to sometimes hide from other people. And I think when you're starting a relationship with somebody, it's like maybe you don't want to show all those cards because you're afraid, if they know this about me or this about me, then they're not going to like that, or I'm going to turn them away, or So I think maybe he's processing some of those things as well.
Here's my cards. I'm going to show you. I have a I don't like to walk dog cards, and I have a I'm a murderer card. Let me show you this one. I'm afraid that you're going to not like that I don't like to walk dogs. Let me just show you I'm a murderer. I don't know.
Wasn't there a game show, Baggage? Do you remember? You had like 3 different kinds of baggage, and like it got into like degrees of like what the baggage was, whatever.
Okay,
anyway,
okay.
And what they put up with her.
Yeah, exactly. And like people got eliminated by rounds, so murderer would be in there. Yeah. And murder people.
So finally we have the whole climax of
condoms. Somebody said that once. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Speaking of those, we have the whole climax of the whole Hannah experience with Jurg, because Jurg has kidnapped Hannah and been holding her, and she offers to make some amazing green tomatoes that my Grammy taught me how to make.
Are you doing an accent right now?
My Grammy taught me how to make some green tomatoes, and so it's funny because he actually does go out and pick the tomatoes, like. Okay, so she makes her some green tomatoes. I don't know what she put in it. Maybe it was just pepper, because she says like she always did make him a little too peppery, and he was only just choking on like something spicy. It didn't have to be a poison. And then she bashes him over the head with the coffee pitcher or something.
Lamp.
And then no, the lamp's next.
Oh.
First is like a blender.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
blender.
right.
There was a blender, yeah. And then she gets stabbed, which is really quick. You almost don't catch it when they're in the scuffle. It's
You just hear it. You just hear that.
And then then she's trying to run away. It's very, very believable with the whole, because he's a big guy and he's got a knife in his hand. So she tries to get away. He pulls him back by the chain. She grabs the lamp finally, smashes it over his head. And then she's trying to get the key that's just out of reach. Movie cliche. And then she passes out on the ground, only for Deb to discover her later and Deb to actually save her. And I saw a very...
Go ahead.
I saw a very big, if any of you are Breaking Bad fans,
Yes.
seeing the scene where Walter leaves Jesse's girlfriend to die. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched Breaking Bad, sorry. Spoiler alert. Okay, yeah, and just
if they haven't seen it by now, they deserve to get spoiled.
Thank you, Martin.
Okay.
So
I haven't seen it.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
Walter leaves Jesse's girlfriend to overdose while she's vomiting so she can do it. I almost felt like Deb was going to do that. And it kind of ruined it for me having seen Instagram pictures beforehand of episodes coming after this. And I spoiled it for myself that I knew she was going to live. And that kind of ruined it for me. But I still thought for a second that Deb was going to just leave her there and call for the, what is it called?
Backup, whatever.
backup.
Yeah.
The people who inspect dead bodies, whatever. And so yeah, that's kind of a big move for Deb because she absolutely hates Hannah.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I was going to bring up before, but decided to leave it for Hannah's section. How is it that Jurg, I mean, do we know that Jurg is dead at this point? So that wasn't really touched on. And I just find it hard to believe, unless Hannah did poison him, that he died from a blow to the head, but she did not die from a stab wound.
Well,
Yeah, I guess they really didn't say, did they?
No.
But I assumed he was dead.
I assumed he was
the
just
way they
because
were.
the amount of blood coming out of his head area and how Deb was
Questioning at the
thing like it was a murder, like it was self-defense. It was self-defense.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be
Right.
talking about like an assault as self-defense if literally she's tied up with chains with a guy in the same room as her. A murder would be more of a talk for self-defense.
Yeah.
But then Dexter shows up to the hospital. We have this whole touching scene with Dexter and Hannah where we thought that Hannah was
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah. Let's put the brakes on this, buddy.
we're not getting married yet. I don't want John Lithgow at my house for the wedding. And that kind of wraps up a little bit of Dexter and Hannah. You guys have anything else? No?
No.
All right. Well, let's go into Dexter and Deb. We only have a little bit of Dexter and Deb, but it kind of fits a lot of what she's thinking into this. So the first conversation they have, hey, Deb, can I talk to you? It is about how she kind of confessed her love to him. Just kind of confessed her love for him.
Creepy.
Yeah, it was an awkward conversation, and you notice that Deb always Dexter, every time he talks about it, he says, of course you think you're in love with me.
Yeah.
Of course you think you're in love with me. It's logical. If there's anything you know, Dexter, it's that love is not logical in this show. Who do you think you're dating right now? I mean...
Well, I mean, that's real life, too. Love isn't logical.
It isn't logical.
No.
Yeah, it's calling it logical and speaking to your sister who just confessed her love to you and doesn't want to talk about it is not logical. Sorry, Dexter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think all of the tone that he's doing it too is more aggravating to her because it's like you said, you think you're in love with. No, she's pretty certain that she's in love with him, you know, and the fact that he kind of dismisses it and also compares it to his love for M&M's.
Oh yeah, ouch.
That's a tough one. Yeah, like
Deb, your love is like a chocolate-coated peanut center.
yeah,
It's logical.
Oh.
So we have that conversation, and the next time he talks to Deb, he's asking for a favor. He doesn't just be like, hey, Deb, can you do this for me? He asks for a favor.
Well, and also, let's go back just a second. And then also, before the conversation is even done, he's texting Hannah during the middle of, where she just walks off then. Because it's like she knows who he's texting, so...
Well, even then, you look at the text, put it back in your pocket.
Right,
you don't answer it right there in front of Deb while you're talking about her being in love with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say likewise to Deb, but don't say it to Hannah because you actually have feelings for Hannah. So, so then he asks Deb for a favor to take the tail off, take the police escorts basically off of Isaak, and she thinks that he's going to just let the guys kill Isaak, when it's complete opposite, and she is kind of pissed off that he's going to help him because of Hannah, and she does not want to help him because of that, but he says, this is one of the first times you see Dexter really being adamant towards Deb about his feelings for Hannah, where she says, why don't we just let her die, blah, 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 and he's just like, why do I even care? And he says, because I do. And that's kind of powerful because Dexter never really stands up to Deb too often. And this is one of the few things he is. He's really putting himself out there for Hannah, and he doesn't even know her that well. Okay. Not that I don't like her, but I mean, he's really going out on a limb for this chick. I mean, she is hot, but...
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think their relationship hasn't developed like that far for him to really be going all kind of like we said with Quinn and
and Nadia.
And Nadia.
I mean, there's a time to date a serial killer and there's a time not to date a serial killer. When your wife died a year ago, your kids are in town, there's a guy trying to kill you, and your sister just confessed your love for you. This is not a good time to date a serial killer. And I don't know,
I kind of feel like he didn't do it all for Hannah, though. I think that a part of him just wanted to team up with Isaak, and he was intrigued by him, and I think using Hannah was, I'm not totally sold on their relationship either, but maybe it just hasn't been enough time for me. But yeah, I think that Isaak was part of it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be enough for him to just be like, yeah, okay, I'll go along with this. So
yeah,
having Hannah in the mix was just helped him agree.
So we get a little foreboding in conversation with Deb and Dexter in the car when she says, I mean, mostly she kind of lays it on the line like how she's feeling at the moment, but what really took away was the last line where she says, you better, if you don't listen to me anytime at all, listen to me now when I say she's a killer, you'll never be safe with her. Which, God, Dexter, thanks for having the last line be, I feel safe.
Oh, good call.
That's just, Deb, F you. Hey, Deb, F you. Like, that's kind of what he kind of did just then. And yeah, that's a little bit, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of Deb and Dex from now on just because they don't have to focus as much on Isaak. But, I mean, I feel like Deb is going down a slippery slope right now with her depression because, as she said, she wakes up in the morning, she only has one moment where she feels like everything's steaks and beers. That's such a Deb thing to say, too. Everything's steaks and beers, Dexter. And then when she blinks, it's gone. And she realizes that she's in love with her brother. Her brother's a psychopath murderer, and like all this thing's going on. And she has to take a Xanax a night just to get the next day, just for that one fleeting moment where she blinks and it's all gone again. Yeah. And I feel like Deb's going to go down a pretty self-destructive path in the future.
I think she actually might be making a bit of a turn, because like at the end when she talked about, I'm going to start doing things for me, you know? So I'm hoping that instead of taking a bad turn, I'm hoping she gets like stronger, and she's like, you know, kind of fed up with, fine, Dex, if you want to date a serial killer and you're, like she warned, you're not going to be safe. I kind of feel like maybe she'll start stepping up more, like, I mean, kind of letting it go and letting him go and make his mistakes with Hannah, and like it looks like getting probably some really bad situations. But I hope she kind of lets go of the, like, she's not going to be pining after him. She's not going to be getting super depressed, that she'll go back with Quinn.
I know. I think those two crazy kids really have a chance.
Me too.
Really
Let's get them back together.
Quinn's missing her home cooking.
What was that face?
His skinny face.
His skinny face.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, my new food.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's. Yeah. I hope you're right, and that would be the only way for LaGuerta not to connect the two of them together, is if Deb takes a step back now before it gets too far into it. Be like, if she finds out about Dexter, then maybe Deb won't be so close to the nuclear blast that emerges from that she won't be affected by it as much. So I don't know how that's going to turn out, but yeah, that's a little bit into Deb. We'll be getting probably more into it, especially because we have the holiday episodes coming up, and they always like to delve deep into family on those. But speaking of family and holidays, here at AfterBuzz TV, we like to do all of our shows on iTunes, and you can listen to them, you can subscribe, you can rate them 5 stars. All you have to do is load up your little iTunes machine on your whatever computer you got.
Your iTunes machine.
Yes, and you go into that little search bar and you put AfterBuzz Dexter, and we're going to be the first one that pops up. Just click that. Click 5 stars, write a little comment, whether you think we're good looking, whether you think we're ugly, whether you think our shows are awesome, or whether you think our shows are actually really awesome. And we do read all the comments, so we do appreciate them. And come on, guys, we need to get back up to 5 stars, because you know what? Next season, we're going to have to be right back up here for doing another Dexter After Show with the last season of Dexter.
So, and tell a friend.
Yeah, tell a few friends.
Yeah.
Co-workers, whoever.
Unless you're like Dexter and you've killed most of your friends, just post it on a forum somewhere. I mean, just put it somewhere so people see it. But yeah, getting back to it, let's go into this new arc. Well, this slowly building crescendo of an arc that started with just a small clip of LaGuerta finding a glass slide that has emerged into her doing her own private investigation, looking through different records, talking to Deb. And now that Deb's out, she is going to Matthews, which is the last person on Earth who probably wants to see her at this point. And it's evidenced so by the fact that he says everything to LaGuerta in this episode that we as the viewer wish we could. The first thing he says to her is, Tokyo's that way, I think they're missing Godzilla, or something like that. He basically just calls her Godzilla. And then he says, you have by the end of my drink to finish what you're talking about. And what we now know about Matthews that we didn't know before is that he was so close to his 40-year pension was 9 months. So LaGuerta literally screwed him out of living comfortably for his long career that he worked all his life for. Yeah. So the animosity there has to be tremendous. Yeah. For him to even consider giving her information, like, she's got to be up his ass for years. I mean, that's how I feel. Yeah. Because I like Matthews. I do like Matthews.
Yeah, I do too.
Because he was the anti-LaGuerta. And he put Deb where she is today. And I like him. And I also like that he says everything I wish I could. And let's see here. So he basically tells her to F off. He says, if I knew you were coming by, I'd have made it a double. Because he would need more than one drink just to deal with her attitude and her bad cop work. He also makes a snide remark about, oh, you're actually doing cop work. Yeah. Because she's never done that before. But then we see her come back at a restaurant. It wasn't Batista's restaurant, was it?
No, she was just stopping for coffee.
It was stopping for coffee. And he says that if he can reinstate her, support his reinstatement, that he will help her and give her all the information about the interesting names and interesting stuff he knows about the Bay Harbor butcher case. And
About people, yeah,
What about
about people who
people
have
on the
boats.
list?
Yeah, people on the boat list.
well, that was another thing too. I wrote down that as one of my favorite quotes when she was like, "I have a list of all the police officers who have a boat," and it's like, "Oh, I'm on it too. Are you fucking kidding me,
Yeah.
Maria?"
It was a great delivery on that line.
Yeah.
You can just taste the disdain as he walks around. So we have that kind of storyline going, and it really only gave us that much, that they are talking. And then we see a little bit of our scenes from next week where Dexter's name is brought up. And that kind of, we're on episode 9. We have 3 episodes to go, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm worried that they're going to leave us on a cliffhanger.
Well, that's their job.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I feel a big cliffhanger coming too this time.
Huge cliffhanger. Like,
It's
what was,
gotta be.
I mean, season 6 cliffhanger. Dexter?
Yeah.
You're killing someone? I can't imagine how they're going to top that with this one. They're going to be like, it's going to probably be LaGuerta like, Dexter is the Bay Harbor butcher. Like, it's got to be something that big for people to be like, oh my God, what's next season going to have?
Well,
Yeah.
it's got to be huge because everything that they've wrapped up so neatly already, I mean, it's got to be huge.
I feel like Isaak should have had a season to himself.
I know.
Yeah, I wanted him to be. Yeah,
Guys, I miss
we already
Isaac.
said this. We already miss him.
Not George. Isaac.
We need to name this like the Isaak AFTERBUZZ podcast because
Yeah.
he's such a great character.
Let's start a fan club.
You can come join us here now.
Ray
That was so
Stevenson,
neat.
please join us at
Yes,
AFTERBUZZ
we would
TV.
love to have you.
This is your shout out at 36 minutes into the show, and I will tweet you about this 36 minute into the show shout out. But yeah, and then we have a little bit of Quinn and George. Hello, George. And of Mice and Men. Come on. And so George is trying to reach Quinn. I believe he's trying to get in touch with Quinn to try to find out what Dexter is to begin with. And then when he pulls aside Nadia and says, "Your boyfriend's making me have a pretty bad day," and you don't actually know what happened. Like, I honestly didn't know what was going to happen until Quinn comes in, and she's like doesn't want to talk about it, I'm
Oh,
thinking,
I totally know.
Oh, I knew too. Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
I was oblivious. I guess I'm just thick-headed today. But yeah, and then when he says, "You slept with Nadia," like, oh, I was like, oh man, Quinn, it's about to get real.
Yeah.
And it got real. He threw him through a mirror.
Yeah.
He threw this guy through a mirror and beat the living
And
crap
punched
out of him.
Yeah, numerous times.
Here's the thing, though, Quinn. It's like
Yeah.
there's always gonna be another stripper, you know?
Yeah.
Like, let this one go. She's causing you too much trouble.
That's what bothers me about it. And we said this, I think, from the first time they introduced the storyline. It was like, really, Quinn? I mean, come on. You know, there's, like you said, there's plenty. There's like 10 more that look just like her.
Yeah.
Same room, standing there topless. Grab another one.
And I just feel like,
In fact, take 10 days aside and grab each one each day. I mean, come on.
and I feel like go to a different room. You went there for like a shakedown, you know?
Yeah.
Like, go somewhere else. This isn't the best place to meet a lady.
Yeah.
He's an idiot.
Yeah,
And
poor
beating
Quinn.
the living out of the guy who is giving him money against the police
Yeah.
and has a recording of him tampering with freaking evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quinn, you're a moron.
He is.
Yeah.
Just because you try to look badass leaving, consider this her notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, consider this your notice. You're probably not going to last another 2 weeks on Dexter.
I think you're right on that one. I think he really does. No, we're not doing predictions yet, but
They're going to save him for
was gonna
if they kill him, they're going to save him for the finale. I guarantee you that. But yeah, that's what happened with Quinn and George. Batista, we hear a little bit. He has seven things wrong with his restaurant. They say he's got to get fixed the next 7 days. They're going to shut him down. And then they find out it's mold later in the restaurant. I really wonder how they're going to bring this in. I think that in the next season, his restaurant's going to be burned down by the Phantom Arsonist. I mean, that's just a really out of nowhere prediction, but like bringing the two lines together. And then, yeah, we talked a little bit about the Phantom Arsonist, and he lit a car on fire, and Dexter kind of points out that the guy's an idiot and says, "Hey, there's this fire trail's different. There's a phantom spot here. There's nothing that's burning." And he says, "Are you the blood guy?" Mm-hmm. "Yeah." "All right then," and walks away.
yeah.
And then we see the name Bobby in the elevator after Dexter calls him out again, shuts the door, and apparently there's a guy who wears a fire retardant suit who pours accelerant on people, lights them on fire, and watches them. And the guy who is the fire guy, fire deputy, whatever, he seemed like he had seen.
Creepo?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just blatant setup, though. I don't think that he's gonna be the guy just because they're shoving it at you too much that he could be the guy. It's just kind of like one of those, I don't know. And yeah, that's pretty much the episode. We got through this pretty fast. I probably just didn't let you guys talk enough. That's how I feel.
Fine.
No,
But
we still have things to discuss.
we have lots of stuff to discuss. Speaking of lots of stuff,
Talking of the Scorcher, too, though, if you want another funny, good Deb line, how about the holy filet-o-fuck? When the guy was, that was my favorite Deb of the
he's like,
of the
and there's a
evening.
fire.
Yeah, so sorry, I had to throw that one in there.
Did you guys have any other favorite quotes from the episode?
Yeah, Matthews says the only thing you'll get from me is a ride back to Cuba.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That was a good one.
Nice. I'm going to tie everything in this episode together in my favorite line of the episode, which centers all around the fear and love, and I'll actually talk a little bit about that too because we have some time. This is Dexter to Isaak. This is one of the last things they say to each other, and he says, "Your feelings for him cost you everything. Was it worth it?" Oh God, yes. And that is the most foreboding thing that has ever been said on this show for Dexter. Because that literally to me was a translation, your love for Hannah is going to cost you everything, Dexter. And that's exactly what I got from that. I was like, wow, that's telling us that there's going to be an end to Dexter because of Hannah in this series. A little bit of foreboding there.
We'll see.
But yeah, like lots of fear and love in this episode, and it makes me sad because Deb's afraid of loving Dexter. Dexter's afraid of loving Hannah, yet he does. Hannah has a fear of water. Totally tied that together.
Nice.
Well done.
And Dexter has a boat.
I think I should need like a little pin board here with like threads going to each other. Hannah, water, Quinn, strippers, Deb, Xanax, and Isaak and Victor. Oh. But yeah, so you need to catch us this Wednesday. We're going to be doing an extra special podcast, and listeners, perk up because we have Amy Garcia coming into our AfterBuzz studios for an independent interview talking about her thoughts on the season, what it's like working with the people on set, what kind of projects she's currently working on, and maybe she'll be kind enough to give us a few hints at what's to come in the coming weeks because I know they've already filmed episodes 10 and 11. I believe they're finishing up 12. I think they've already finished it maybe, but I'm seeing some spoiler pictures all over the net of like Thanksgiving and stuff like that. So it's going to be a really interesting interview. We're going to be doing it live at 5 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday, and I believe I will be here and Sean will be here. I hope you guys can somehow join us. I know that it's very difficult to schedule people in the middle of the week because everybody's so busy, but we really hope that you tune in for that, and then we're trying to get some special guests coming up for you on the coming weeks. I know, was it December 9th you said?
I think December 9th, David Mack is coming.
And David Mack, of course, is the illustrator for Dexter Early Cuts, the wonderful artist. He's really talented.
He is.
So we should definitely be looking forward to that as well. And yeah, that's our teaser. So definitely tune in, and that will also be on our Dexter podcast. Let's go into some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So I know you have a little bit of news for us.
I just have one. TV Line has made Jennifer Carpenter the Performer of the Week. For this week, for her performance in the last episode.
Totally agree.
Yeah, she was fantastic, and we talked about it a lot on our podcast. So
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. So I'll just quote what they said. They said that she flawlessly expressed her character's rage, shame, and disgust in a balls-to-the-wall performance, which I thought was pretty
that.
right on.
Yeah.
And then it also said it was a sensational showcase for an actress who was already enjoying the kind of season Emmy campaigns are tailor-made for. So if we want to do a little prediction, maybe she'll get a little Emmy nod for which would be awesome to see.
Yeah, I'd support that.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'd like that.
I think Ray needs one too.
Yeah.
Give Isaak an Emmy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have too much news and gossip. I mean, if you're subscribed to Dexter fans on Twitter, they show a lot of little things about what's coming up in the series and what's coming up pictures-wise. So we see it's not too much of a spoiler. Dexter introduces Hannah to his family over Thanksgiving dinner. So we're going to see a very interesting family relationship going on, because I think Deb might be there, and having Deb with the family at dinner, that's got to be some very condescending overtones going on at that dinner. And lots of cursing. Yeah, I can't wait for Deb to use the F word in the same sentence as turkey or stuffing or something like that, because I'm looking forward to it.
I think that's kind of why I want to see her win the Emmy too, because I would just like to see her get up there and just drop F-bombs. I think it'd be awesome speech. Sorry.
Oh, very good, Jennifer. Very good.
Yeah.
Did you have anything?
I don't.
All right. I don't have anything either. This week's been a slow week for Dexter. But let's go in. I know all of our predictions are going to be changed after this episode, so let's go into some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I just have one. I think that Dexter is going to kill Hannah's dad.
It's funny because I'm right there.
Yeah.
I thought that Hannah's dad was gonna end up being the what's the new killer's name? The
Phantom Arsonist?
Yeah, Phantom Arsonist, and then that Dex would kill him.
I think that Dex kills George. I think that Hannah's dad comes down. Hannah's dad comes down for Thanksgiving. I think that's going to be what's next episode. And I don't think her dad dies. I think it's just one of those, like, she's got a messed up relationship with him, but if she wanted him dead, she would have killed him already, is how I feel. And I don't know. It's really getting interesting. I still think that Deb could quite possibly die by the end of the season. I don't know. It's weighing on me.
It's weighing on me.
It's weighing on me.
I think why I think kind of with it, he's going to kill her dad is because I think that's where some of the conflict with them is going to come in between. Because she said some line in the trailer, and I didn't get to write it down, but it kind of was foreshadowing to me that she's questioning his need to kill everybody, and that was going to be one of the triggers.
I think she just said, "You don't need to kill."
I mean, that was it.
It's a pretty simple line. Yeah, she delivers it flawlessly. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all for predictions.
Yep.
I mean, everything had a center around Isaac and how diabolically mastermindful he will be, and how he's not going to die.
I miss you already.
Yeah.
Can we have a moment of silence for Isaac? All right, that's enough. See you on your next series, Ray Stevenson. All right. That's
well, you can follow me if you'd like to. I'm on a Koppel, and you can follow me at Koppel for Mayor, KOPPELFORMAYOR.
And I'm at JJ Jurgens, or my website's jjjurgens.com.
You can find me at Stephen Lemieux. That's at STEPHENLEMIEUX. Yep, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.